Good morning, everybody, and welcome to my podcast. My name is Jakub Vanish, and this is JV Talks episode 6. Today, we're going to be reviewing the full first season of the Fallout TV show from Amazon. So, buckle up, let's get right into this together. So, Fallout TV show, I've already reviewed the first episode because I was really blown away by that pilot. That was such a great introduction to the characters and to the world, and I think a huge relief for the game fans because there were high expectations, but we've seen what Amazon can do with some properties, especially with Lord of the Rings. So of course there was some reason to be nervous, I would say the least. Now, talking about the Fallout TV show, let's say that I'm gonna be definitely going into the spoiler territory. So you have been warned because I will go into the details about the episode and about some of the things that is happening in the lore and in the story towards the end. So just take it into the consideration when listening to this. And if you don't want spoilers, then maybe come back later when you actually finish the show. I know I'm quite late in the game. It takes me quite a while with two young kids to catch up on this kind of binge watch because Amazon decided to drop all of the episode at once. So there are people that probably were able to see it all in just one go. And then you have people like me where I can do one episode per maybe one or 2 days, during night when the kids are asleep, if they are actually asleep. The people that are listening to me and have kids that are like below 3 years old, that if you get like 5 hours of sleep in a night, you're in a good territory for sure. Okay, so back to Fallout. So Fallout again produced by Amazon, and it's a material that is taken directly from the video games. It's a beloved video game series that started already in the 90s with two isometric Fallouts, Fallout 1 and 2. I think they were developed by the company called Black Isle or something like that. And then there was also some kind of a, let's say, different game, also still isometric, which was called Fallout Tactics, like a strategy game. And after that, the material, the license was taken by a company called Bethesda that is normally doing Elder Scrolls, like Morrowind and Skyrim and Oblivion. And they took the material and started to do their own things with this, starting with Fallout 3. And I think that came out, and I don't want to lie, I think something like 2007 for Xbox 360, maybe 2008. I will need to check it out. And that was very, very much loved, I would say, because people were really looking forward to see how Fallout finally looks kind of from the first person or third person, and this is what Bethesda gave them for the first time ever. However, they kind of changed the tone a little bit of Fallout series, because the 1 and 2 were, let's say, a little bit more grounded and gritty and dark, whereas as of Fallout 3 and Fallout 4 and 76 and New Vegas, etc., all of them are they have a lot more humor to them. And so you would have two camps of people. One camp that really used to love the first and second game, and then the camp of people that love the Bethesda games, let's say, right? So I would say this TV show is definitely more for the people that love the Bethesda games. I'm from Czech Republic. For some reason, the Fallout 1 and 2 are like hyped like crazy here, like among the top 5 games of all time for most of the people that are from that era. So I can imagine that a lot of people in Czech Republic actually don't enjoy this show because it leans heavily into this Bethesda world with a lot of humor, etc. And they were expecting something more serious, I would say. So but if you like that type of humor, I think you're in for a ride. If you played any of these games before, you're in for a ride and you're gonna have a lot of fun. Even if it was just one installment and you probably didn't finish the game, you're gonna enjoy it, right? If you like sci-fi, if you like creatures, monsters, some horror, there's a lot of gore and violence in this one as well, so something to be taken into consideration. But if you're not into this kind of stuff at all, then yeah, I don't think this is your thing. So for example, my wife, I would never kind of force her or ask her to watch it with me, because I know she would hate it. She would just not enjoy it at all. Like for her, this just the violence would be too much. The creatures and the whole sci-fi elements are not really for her. So yeah, don't force your spouse if if she's not into it. But I think after the first episode, after the first pilot, you'll exactly know if this is for you. So you can definitely give it a go if you have Amazon Prime. Now, so the show actually follows 3 different protagonists, and that's such a cool thing. I actually like that idea. So the first protagonist, and I think the one that gets most, let's say, screen time, is called Lucy. And Lucy is played by a lady called Ella Purnell, and I think she did a fantastic job. She is, by the way, also in another video game adaptation of Arcane, which is the League of Legends story, and that was also brilliant. Like altogether, I think there are like 4 video game adaptations that did well. Otherwise, 99% of them are really shit, to be honest. But so Ella Purnell did a great job portraying Lucy. Lucy is a vault dweller. She was born in a vault. She is very naive, kind of. she doesn't know anything about the real world and the wasteland, and she it's kind of coming of age story for her, even though she's probably, I don't know, 30 years old or something like that. But it's really fun to see her transformation in this TV show, I would say. All right, and then we have the second character, which is called Maximus, and he's part of the Brotherhood of Steel, and he's portrayed by Aaron Moten. This guy, I think he did a good job, though the arc of the character himself is not that intriguing. Like, I didn't find it that interesting, but the guy was doing a good job with the material that he had in his script, I would say. Though, interesting about him, I really didn't know what to think about him from the trailers, because he totally looks like Denzel Washington for some reason, and sometimes you don't know if he is like 55 or if he's 23. Like, this is so weird. Like, from different angles and with different facial expressions, he can give a different vibe of a different age and facial structure. So weird. But yeah, I think he's just the age of Ella Purnell as well. And so he is part of Brotherhood of Steel. He is a survival of a let's say there was a bomb drop on a city called Shady Sands, and he was a little kid, and then the Brotherhood saved him. These knights in those huge stainless steel armors and the T-60 armor, they saved him, and he became a part of the Brotherhood. He was probably thinking, they're the good guys, and he's gonna be saving the world with them. In the end, when we follow his arc, he's kind of cleaning shit for them, like cleaning toilets, and they don't treat him super well, to be honest. So his arc is about basically understanding, what Brotherhood of Steel really is, what he is, like what he wants really from his life, etc., etc. But I think out of the 3 main protagonists that we're following in this TV show, he's the weakest, unfortunately. And then we have the character called Ghoul or Cooper, played by Walton Goggins, and yeah, I think he is the best out of them. He's probably, let's say, kind of the mascot for this TV show, because this is such a brilliantly written character, though he's kind of just flat in his emotions, etc. He doesn't really develop, whereas Ella's character Lucy, she has much of an arc, where Walton doesn't really have that much. But he what he can do with his face, and like, he's this kind of cowboy character from Wild Wild West, and I am really here for it. I really enjoy watching him on screen. Whenever he's there, it's just golden television. So I can fully recommend. Now, talking about the effects and the feel of the show and the practical, sets, etc., they nailed it. Like they took it right out of the games, especially from Fallout 4. So the design of the sets and the design of the props and the masks, I think even the T60 armor is just physical. It looks physical. It's not CGI, and I really like that stuff. It's old school, though. True to be told, these armors are supposed to weigh probably a ton or something like that, and they give a feeling of them feeling very light sometimes in some shots. But other than that, I think the vault scenes are amazing right out of the games, and the wasteland is amazing. Like the world itself is just done so well, and the effects are done so well. Also the creatures. So Amazon probably put a lot of money into this. I can look up how much did it cost. Let me look it up just a sec. Okay, so I found it. It was 152 million for the production costs. So approximately about 20 million per episode. And yeah, that's actually, I think, for almost 8 hours of television, they nailed it. And you can see that there is really quite a lot of talent behind the camera there. Not only the actors, but also the writers, but especially, there is Jonathan Nolan, who I think directed multiple episodes, and he was kind of the grandfather of this project. Like, come on, this is the brother of Christopher Nolan, who just got an Oscar finally for Oppenheimer. So obviously that guy knows, about stuff, about how to make, these grand epics. He also did this TV show about the robots called Westworld, which is kind of similar in some ideas to Fallout. So whatever was directed or scripted by Jonathan Nolan was golden television. I really enjoyed this, and to be honest, like I was enjoying the first half of the show much more than the second half. Probably like maybe till the 5th episode. There's 8 episodes that are out. All of them, you can watch them now. And I think till like 5th episode I was really hooked. And then it started to drop for me a little bit. And I will explain why in my kind of explanation of these episodes. But to be honest, like around the episode 4 or up until the time, I was just really looking forward to even installing Fallout 4 on my PlayStation again and just going through it again. There's gonna be a new update on 25th, so tomorrow for my time, 25th of April, that is adding some, graphical settings and maybe even some new missions, etc. So I was really looking forward to it. But after these last 3 episodes, it kind of dropped for me a little. I will likely still download it, but it just I don't know. I was looking at IMDb, and like these last 3 episodes are actually getting the highest scores. Not for me though. I think they made some changes in the lore, and especially the tone was a little bit off in some of these episodes. That I tried to dig a little bit deeper on what was going on, and I found out that not only basically each episode is directed by somebody else, they have also different writers. And yeah, that's a pity, because then you have kind of inconsistency in the tone, and those shifts are really visible there, where also the pacing was off. Like it felt really rushed. Suddenly, they needed to close all of these arcs in the last 2 or 3 episodes, and they didn't have enough time. So unfortunately, it was not super satisfying for me, to end on this note. However, what is satisfying and what is actually a good news for all of us Fallout fans is that they have greenlit the 2nd season. So I think they started to work on it already. And hopefully we'll get the new season in 2 or 3 years or something like that. Oh my god, such a long time, man. I still believe that if Amazon would decide to drop it on normal weekly schedule, that would be much better, because there is a lot of secrecy and mysteries in this TV series that people would just be talking about, this kind of water cooler discussion at work, in the office, right? Like this is what we needed. I think it would take over the internet. People would be trying to figure out what's going on. They would theorize, what is behind those mysteries, but not like this, unfortunately. So that's a bit of a pity. Now, let's take a look at those episodes. So the first episode is called The End, And by the way, the last episode is called The Beginning. So yeah, that's kind of funny. But the end, like I said, I already reviewed on my YouTube channel, and is just great. It hooked me right out of the gate. I didn't have high expectations for this at all. Maybe that's what helped. But they nailed the tone, even the humor. Even though there was quite a lot of humor in this one, I was fine with it. I think they went out of their leash, towards the end of the season, unfortunately. So the end kind of introduces these three characters, and basically we have a quest that is introduced to Lucy. So I think she's kind of the main protagonist in this one, where her father is abducted by people from Wasteland, by the Raiders. So they take him out of the world. Until that point, everybody in the world, including Lucy, think that there's nothing outside, that everybody's dead, and they will need to repopularize the world somehow. And this is a big eye-opener for them. So I was intrigued, to find out, what's there, because basically by the end of this episode, she goes out. And yeah, we are introduced also to Maximus in the Brotherhood of Steel, and a very short but very effective introduction to the Ghoul character, to Cooper. Now, in the second episode, this is directed by Jonathan Nolan. It's called The Target, and this is where all of these protagonists collide. They actually meet, all of them at the same time, in this little town called Philly, and it's so well shot. Just right out of the game. The props are amazing. I don't know where they shot it, but it just looks great. And let's say the conversations are fun and flowing. Just everything is brisk. Basically, let's say Maximus' character is sent with a knight called Titus, so with somebody with the T60 armor, to accompany him to bring some guy, to the Brotherhood, as a relic. And they go to this Philly town, and on the way, actually, turns out that this knight Titus is a huge asshole. He's really such a dick, to be honest. Where he's then taken out by a radioactive bear, basically, and what Maximus does is he doesn't save him, he just watches him die and then takes his armor, and finally he feels like that knight in the shining armor. Though, yeah, is it the best trait that you can have as a person? Likely not, but this is what Maximus is. He's kind of a chicken in this TV series, to be honest. Lucy goes there. She's naive as always, the whole life involved. She has her ideas about how it is outside. So she almost dies every 5 seconds, but somehow miraculously, gets through everything. And also, the Ghoul character Cooper, goes into that town because he's looking for this guy as well. So everybody's looking for that one guy. And there is a shootout which is super gruesome, and again just tells you about how violent this show is gonna be. But the effects, the sound effects, the music, the masks, the sets, everything looks brilliant. I really enjoy this one a lot. The third episode is called The Head. Well, what happens there is basically the character that they were looking for is living with Lucy. She's taking him to the lady that kidnapped her father, Moldaver, I think is her name. And the guy dies, unfortunately, because he doesn't have a leg. And basically he asks Lucy to chainsaw his head to take his head only to Moldaver, because dragging full body would be very difficult through this desert land, and she does it. So yeah. So this is what's happening there. And then there are also some crazy creatures. There's a gulper there, so like a aquatic creature with fingers in the insides. It's just all very gruesome, very violent, and I'm like, this is one of the best episodes for me, because it's again all about the world, like world building, and this shows you so much from the world and from the creatures, and I love that aspect of the TV show. The fourth episode is called The Ghouls. What happens there is that the Ghoul character basically betrays Lucy, and he sells her. He puts her into a supermarket, which is kind of abandoned, but it's not really abandoned. She's then taken by a robot who, and that's kind of funny. She basically it looks like the robot saved her, and he asks her, okay, hey, can I help you with anything? Do you want a coffee? And he fixes her finger that actually the ghoul bit off from her. And she was like, oh my god, you are so nice, I'm so glad. I was afraid, I'm gonna be your sex slave or something like that. And the robot is like, sex slave? Oh my god, this is disgusting, I'm just gonna harvest your organs. So this was really like that kind of humor when it's just peppered here and there, every, I don't know, 15 minutes in the TV show, I think works well. So she basically kills everybody in the supermarket, including the two kids and a bunch of ghouls. And it's, again, gory scene, really atmospheric. I love that. There's a lot of blood involved. And she goes out. I think this is, by the way, for me, the best episode, because it just really, this is Fallout for me. And then she comes out. And she's a new character. Like she has grown. That naivety dies. Basically, she has even new outfit. She took off this overall from this uniform from the vault that she had, the blue one. I was like, oh my god, I'm here for it. I really like when the character transforms into a badass like this. And unfortunately, in the episode 5, she again gets the blue uniform for some reason. I don't know why. They should have kept it this way and it would be working so much better. Then there is an episode, the past, the trap, the radio, and the beginning. So last, basically, I will just put them all together, these last 4 episodes, because so what is happening in them is that, and I have a little bit of an issue with this. It already happened in the second episode a little bit, is that suddenly these 3 characters were all at the same time at the same place. And this is all happening again in the 5th episode, where Maximus is stuck in his armor because his squire didn't like that he didn't save his knight or something like that, and he left him rot in this. And there's this giant 1 meter long cockroaches that want to bite his eyes out. And suddenly Lucy comes over. In this world of hundreds of thousands of kilometers, they seem kind of bumping into each other, and I don't know why. I don't know, like, was it explained? I don't think it was explained by the TV show that they always have such a luck that they always bump into each other. All 3 of them, by the way. So that's one aspect of this. But basically, what happens to them is that they're looking for a hospital, and they are trapped in that hospital that they find, and then suddenly they drop down below to a vault, and it's a vault 4. She's from vault 33, and this is what I have the most issues with in the second part of the season, because that writing is suddenly a little bit different. The vault 4 was a vault that was used for experiments. They were trapping people from the surface to do weird experiments for them. This was vault that was designed just for scientists, to be run by scientists, and they went too far with the humor there. I mean, it's not even funny. Like, every 10 seconds something happens that is supposed to be funny, but it's rather childish, and I didn't like that. I think it's kind of degrading the seriousness of that show and of that world, and that's such a pity for me. It started to drop for me, even though I'm just looking at IMDb right now, and it just goes up. The first episodes were 8 stars out of 10, where the last 3 are 8.5, 8.5, and 9.0 out of 10. So yeah, that was a little bit weird for me, and we spent like 2 or 3 episodes in that vault. However, there is a mystery that is happening in the original vault, in the vault 33, and that is actually being solved by Norman, who is Lucy's brother. I didn't expect him after the first season to take such a prominent part of the show. He's actually kind of the 4th protagonist of this. And it was so great to watch him because they are part of these 3 connected vaults, 31, 32, and 33. And there are so many mysteries in between them. They never seen anybody, from the other vault. And he is so curious. So he takes his best friend and they are kind of looking for what happened, in the vault 32. Turns out people, just went mad, and they started killing each other, etc. And so I was always hooked just to find out what's going on in these vaults, and I loved that aspect of it. Actually, that was kind of the strongest storyline for me, stronger than what was happening to Ghoul, Lucy, or Maximus. I was always looking forward to find out what Norman is gonna find out. So that was what was saving it for me. But the Vault 4, this funny mutant experimenting, humorous vault scenes, they were killing it for me, unfortunately, quite a bit. And again, the other things that there is, again, this Deus Ex Machina mechanism where people are bumping to each other, where it's just convenient for the writers. And this is, again, it felt like a different show compared to the first 2, 3, 4 episodes in the last 4 for some reason. The ending, which is called The Beginning, so the last episode, actually what is good, at least about that episode, is that they revealed a lot of these secrets. They actually closed a lot of the arcs, and some of these mysteries are explained. However, some of the fans probably will not be super happy because this is changing quite a lot of lore from the games. Where in the games, the bomb starts against basically the super mutants in China, I believe. Here it's the Vault-Tec, the company that is actually building these vaults, because they wanted money and they didn't have enough customers. They started their own war, and they started dropping atomic bombs and nuclear bombs on the whole world, basically forcing all of the countries to use their bomb arsenal. And then we ended up with world ending basically, and only a few people on the surface survived. Some mutated. And then we have about 100 something vaults full of people that for generations, for 200 years were, or even almost 300 years, were hiding, below the surface. So a lot of that is then explained here. We also find out that Lucy's dad is actually one of the original guys from Vault-Tec. He was just in a cryo sleep for hundreds of years, and then he was woken up to become an overseer of the Vault 33 and become his her father. And that he actually gave an order to nuke that Shady Sands, like the first, let's say, society, civilization after almost 300 years, that was actually basically in Los Angeles, with electricity, and they had like trams working and public transport and everything. And he didn't like that because his wife took the children, so Norman and Lucy went to Shady Sands. She wanted to live on the surface. He didn't like that. He nuked the city. He basically killed her, or ghoulified her, so she became a ghoul. And he took the children, and that was very dark, and I think it broke Lucy. Though I think she was supposed to react differently, because in the 4th episode, the ghouls, after this supermarket scene, she was already transformed. She was supposed to be this badass, and then for 4 episodes she was again this naive little girl for some reason. So that is a little bit a thing that dropped for me. So I would say the first 4 episodes for me were like 9 out of 10, and the last 4 were like 6 or 7. So if you average it out, we're about 8 out of 10. Still one of my favorite TV shows for sure. Though I have high hopes for the 2nd season, and they teased a lot of it towards the end. Basically, towards the end, we see that the father character from Lucy, he escaped to New Vegas, which is the video game fans are really knowing a lot about that one, and we're looking forward to find out what's there right now, to revisit that set in Mojave Desert, which is gonna be great. And also they teased the Deathclaw creature, which is like the biggest badass in the Fallout universe. So I cannot wait, but it's, like I said, it's gonna take 2 or 3 years, for us to get there. So unfortunately a little bit bittersweet. started on such a high note. Like I said, I got this itch that I needed to scratch by reinstalling Fallout 4. I will still reinstall it, but I'm not so much looking forward to like I used to. It's such a pity. Though I think if you're a fan of the games, and even if you didn't play the games or know nothing about it, but you like this type of material, like this type of mystery, sci-fi thriller with some humor and nudity and gore and violence, yeah, you're gonna be right at home with this. Let me know what you think about it in the comments on YouTube, or just send me a message. Otherwise, I just also finished Shogun, so I'm gonna be reviewing Shogun in the next few days. And honestly, that's on another level. I can already I can already tease that here. So definitely 152 million well spent from Amazon. I think their reputation is much better right now compared to the Rings of Power, which was honestly quite a disaster. Yeah, especially for the fans. This one, I don't think that the fans will be mad. I think they will be quite satisfied. I was satisfied. I can recommend it to a lot of people. And it's just a pity that we're gonna wait for so long to get the continuation of this story. And it's also a pity that Bethesda didn't prepare a game for us, to play. Now everybody is downloading, Fallout 4 and Fallout 76 and Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas. These games that are 15 years old, or even longer than that, just to scratch that itch like me. And actually, it's now making, I think, what was it, like 300,000 people, playing concurrently on Steam. That's just, I don't think that they even had it for lunch or something like that. So that's great to see, and it's a missed opportunity from Bethesda that they didn't just prepare a game. They probably knew about this for years to come, and they didn't do it. It's a pity. So let me know what you think about this TV series if you've seen it. Otherwise, this has been Jakub Vaniš. This was JV Talks. I'm gonna review Shogun very soon, and then we're gonna do some other material also on this podcast. And thanks a lot for tuning in. Take care, everybody. Cheers, and have a great day. Bye.